Hi and welcome, I am Helle from Game for Life BG, and today I'm going to take a look at The Border. This is a roll and write game for 2 to 4 players. It takes about 30 minutes to play and is for the ages 8+. And in this video I'm going to explain how the game is played, and then I'm going to come with my first impression of the game. And the first thing I'm going to show you with this game is the lid for the box. They have actually put it filled in here, so you can use it as a dice tray, so it's not going to make noise when you throw the dice to here. So you can have it with you in a cafe or something like that and just play the game without making a lot of noise. That I think is neat. And you have the rules, and then you have 4 boards, and these are the same but not the same. They are the same with all of the positions of all of these squares and the images, but the colors, they are placed in different positions on the board. You have the same amount of the different colors, but they are placed differently. So each player is going to grab one of these boards, and then each player is going to get one of these pins, which are erasable pins. So each player is going to get a board and a pen, and then you're ready to start the game. You need to determine who is going to be the start player. And the start player is going to roll the dice, and you can roll the dice up to 3 times, and you can check any dice back and forth as you want to. You can re-roll any of the dices. You really want to get at the start, as the active player, you want to be able to fill out a whole area with a color. So you could use 2 green. You can't use one of any color when you are the active player, not at the start at least. So this player might want to re-roll everything, and then they can use both 2 blue and 2 red. So they can use their last roll to see if they can get one more, and in this case they could. So this player got the result of 3 red and 2 blue, and when you are the active player you have to be able to fill out a whole space. So the only places I can fill these out is here, because you have 2, 3, 4 and 5 in each of the different colors, and then I can place the red ones here. You also start with some crosses here, and they have interest for all other players than the active player. When the active player have rolled their die roll, then when they are finished, then all other players, they can use any dice that the player didn't use, or if they use all of the dice like we did in this example, then they can choose one of the colors. So all other players, they are now going to log on their board where they have a cross. It has to be connected with a cross. They don't have to fill out a whole space, but they have to fill out where you already have a cross on your board. So it has to be connected to a cross. This player can choose either a red or a blue, so they can choose to put one blue up here or a red here. So I think this player is going to choose the blue. Then the other player is going to have their turn. Wow, what a roll! 4 green. So they can roll again and see if they would be able to make 5. They didn't. So they can use all of these dice and fill out this space up here. Then this player, all other players, they will get the blue, the die that this player couldn't use. And this player can use the blue at this space. So in that way, players, they're going to fill out crosses on their board, and the goal of the game is to surround any of these images you have on the board. You have to surround them, and when you surround them, then you're going to score points. And when a player has surrounded 6 of these different objects, then the game is going to end, and you're going to score the point you have. But let's just look at another turn. This player have their turn. Maybe they would like to get some more of the red. Or maybe some, I think they want to, or they already have 2 red. Maybe they want the yellow instead. Okay, if they got this result, then they were going to get the 2 yellow and the 2 green. It could also have happened that this had happened. In this case, they could only use the 2 yellow. They wouldn't be able to use these 3. And then all other players, they were going to mark these 3 colors on their board. If, of course, with this player, they could mark orange, they could mark, at this point they couldn't mark a gray, but because there's a green here, they could mark the green and then the gray. So there are some colors you might not be able to use if you don't have a cross adjacent to that color. And this one would mark the 2 yellow. At some point in the game, a player is going to surround one of these different objects. This player up here is in turn, and they have 2 green. They can use the 2 green at this space. Then they have 2 gray. They can only use one of the gray. They can use the gray here to fill out this whole spot. And now they have surrounded this wagon in here. So they are going to mark the wagon on their board. And they're going to make a circle around it because they're going to score 8 points. All other players, they're going to make a cross. But if another player at the same turn finishes the same one, then they will both mark this one and get points for it. And this player here would then get an orange and a gray. They could use, maybe they will use the gray there and they will use the orange here. And when they cross this one, they have surrounded this one. So they're going to make a circle around this, and this player is going to make a cross here. And if they both finish something at the same time, for example, if they both had finished the bird here, if they both managed to finish this one on the same turn, then they will both score the 7 points for it. So the thing you really have to remember in this game is that the active player has to be able to fill out a whole area, the rest of the color area, to be able to fill any crosses in the area. And when you're not the active player, you are allowed to just put one color in a space if you have a cross adjacent to it. So if they got this one, they could make a cross here, even though they can't finish it. But if you're the active player, you need to finish the whole area to be able to place any crosses in the area. And when you surround an area and it's already have been surrounded, you can get the second prize. If you are the third one to surround an area, then you do not get anything for it. Then it's just too bad. But you have still filled out the area. And then at some point in the game, one player is going to finish their 6 of these images. So they have 6 places where they have filled everything around it. Then the game is going to end. And all players, they're going to tally up their points. So let's just see how well these two did. 40. So this was a close example of 40 and 39 points. And the winner is the player with the most points. And if you have a tie in the game, then it's the player with the most valuable area that is going to be the winner. So you're going to look at who, in this case, it would be this player that had the most valuable area. And they would have been the winner if this player also had received 40 points. But that is the way you're going to play this game. You're just going to roll the dice and you can re-roll any of them as you like, and you can roll them up to 3 times. And then everything you can use, you're going to get, and everything you can't use, other players are going to get. And if you can use everything you rolled, then other players, they can choose one of the die faces that they are going to use and put to their board. And you have to remember, when you're not the active, when you're active player, you have to fill out all of the rest in a color area, and when you're not the active player, you just need to have it adjacent to a cross you already have on your board. So that is the rules for the game, and I think this game is very enjoyable. I think it's a simple, enjoyable game, and I also really like the components they have made, and they have made this board instead of just paper. You can you have these erasable boards where you can use this one, and then when you're finished with the game, you can just take this and a piece of paper, and then you can get rid of everything again, and then you're ready to play again. So I definitely like this this way that they have done it, and also with the tray that you can use this. So it's an easy game to take with you on travel, and play on cafes or wherever you want to on holidays when you're enjoying yourself. This is a family-friendly game, so I can see the family playing, and it's easy to go. And I think it's fun because you're competing against the others. You're looking at what are they going for, because you want to be the first one so you can score the highest amount of points for the different areas. And there's one thing, the most annoying part in this game is when you throw the dice and sometimes you can't use anything, and you are going to give all 5 dice to the other players so they can make crosses with the numbers you couldn't use. that is the most annoying part in this game, because you want to give them you don't want to give them a lot of dice, a lot of choices to use on your turn. You want to be able to use as many of the dice as you can. But when you get later on in the game and you have a lot of big areas, then sometimes you're not going to be able to roll the colors and be able to fill in a whole area with the same color. Then it will happen more than once that you can't use any of the things you have on your die faces. But that's a part of the game, and that is also a fun part when you are waiting. You're not the active player, but you are hoping for some colors that can help you, especially if you have some big areas, and seeing if you can be able to get something from the active player because they didn't roll what they really needed. And this game is in the family with other roll and write games. If you know Quicks, there you will roll with numbers and have to fill out numbers in a certain order. And here it's areas you have to fill out. And I think this is a fun twist to the roll and write game. And I know they have actually also come up with a new edition of Quicks where they also have these erasable pins and boards where you can draw to. A nice thing. Keep on doing this, because that is pretty nice that this version here of the game. But that was my explanation of the rules and first impression of the border. Thanks for watching.